Authority appears before the first word is spoken. You walk into a meeting room and one person does not rush to greet anyone. They set their bag down slowly, look across the table, and take a seat without asking where. The observable behavior is unhurried entry movement. The effect is that others recalibrate around them because speed signals need, and need signals lower rank. In practice, this means they force the room to adjust tempo to them. You can recognize it when conversation briefly pauses and people glance at each other to see how to respond. Tempo sets hierarchy fast. You make a point and someone holds eye contact without nodding. They do not reward you with agreement or soften their face. The observable behavior is neutral facial feedback while listening. The effect is that you start working harder to earn validation, which shifts power toward the listener. This shows up when the speaker adds extra detail, clarifies, or over-explains to close the gap. You can recognize it when the same person makes others justify themselves with nothing but a blank look. Approval becomes a currency. In a disagreement, one person stays physically still while the other gestures. No leaning, no tapping, no fidgeting, no facial correction. The observable behavior is controlled body stillness under pressure. The effect is that agitation looks like weakness and stillness looks like control, even when the words are equal. This is done by letting the other person supply all the motion, which makes them appear emotionally driven. You can recognize it when the animated person starts calming down just to match the still one. Motion leaks status. A senior figure answers a challenge and then stops. No follow-up explanation, no extra reasons, no softening. The observable behavior is short responses with clean endings. The effect is that the decision feels final because there is no surface area to argue with. In practice, this means resistance has nowhere to attach, so it fades or changes form. You can recognize it when someone keeps probing with why and gets the same calm, brief line back. Handles create negotiation. A colleague is questioned and they pause longer than the group expects. They look down, think, then look up and speak once. The observable behavior is delayed response timing. The effect is that the room treats their words as higher value because they arrive after control, not impulse. This shows up when others stop interrupting and wait, as if silence itself has rank. You can recognize it when the fastest talkers suddenly become careful and brief around that person. Timing manufactures weight. In a crowded conversation, one person takes space without apologizing. Their posture is open, shoulders back, feet planted, and they do not shrink when someone passes behind. The observable behavior is stable posture and claimed physical space. The effect is that others read them as less movable, which translates into perceived authority. This is done by occupying space as if it is already theirs and letting others root around them. You can recognize it when people subtly step aside for them without being asked. Space is silent permission. Someone speaks and the room adjusts volume to match them. They do not raise their voice even when challenged. The observable behavior is steady vocal intensity in conflict. The effect is that louder people start sounding reactive, while the steady voice sounds in control. This shows up when others lower their own volume to be taken seriously in return. You can recognize it when the group becomes quieter without anyone requesting quiet. Volume reveals who needs. A manager finishes a discussion and stands up first. No summary, no reassurance, no extra social glue. The observable behavior is clean exit and abrupt disengagement. The effect is that the interaction feels closed because the person with authority decides when it ends. In practice, this means people stop adding last-minute objections because they missed the window. You can recognize it when the room stays quiet after they leave, like the air changed. Endings control outcomes. In negotiation, one person does not mirror your emotion. If you smile, they stay neutral. If you push, they stay measured. The observable behavior is emotional non-matching. The effect is asymmetry, and asymmetry signals higher status because the lower status person adapts. This shows up when you find yourself calibrating tone and pace to try to pull a reaction out of them. You can recognize it when they remain level while you keep adjusting, searching for traction. Mirroring is a giveaway. You watch two people face off, and the one with authority does less. Fewer words, fewer movements, fewer signs of effort. The observable behavior is reduced behavioral output under scrutiny. The effect is that observers assume competence because effort looks like compensation and compensation looks like doubt. This is done by letting others perform urgency while they remain contained. You can recognize it when the other person starts explaining harder, smiling more, and trying to be liked while the authority stays plain. Then the room decides without saying it